Hey YouTube, bigerikbaby here with my first in-depth video on Titanfall. In this video I want to take a look at the Last Titan Standing game mode, which I've been playing a good amount of recently, and give some of my thoughts, tips, and some of my preferred loadouts, so I hope you guys enjoy, and now let's dive into the mode. A quick overview of Last Titan Standing might be beneficial for some who haven't played it before, so let me start with that. At the start of the match, everyone spawns in a Titan falling to Earth, and there is no respawning. If your Titan is doomed, you can stay in it and do damage to other Titans while you go down with the ship, or you can eject and you will play the rest of the round as a pilot running around, which means you can use your ordnance and anti-Titan weapons to continue to do damage, as well as take out other pilots from the other team that have also ejected. To win the round, your team must kill all the other enemy Titans, or have more Titans left alive than the other team when the round timer expires. If both teams have the same amount of Titans left, whichever team has more overall health left will be declared the winner. Each team will play 3 rounds from the same side, and then it will rotate and you will play 3 more rounds starting on the opposite side, and the team that wins 4 rounds first will be declared the winner of the match. Now that we know the basics of the mode, it's time to get a little more in depth and really dive into this mode, which I find to be one of the best modes in Titanfall. The first, most basic tip I have for you guys, which applies to all modes but especially Last Titan Standing, is to slow play your Titan. What I mean by slow play is do not get overtly aggressive with your Titan, whether it is at the start of the match or halfway through when the round has dwindled to 3 versus 3 Titans. The way I look at Last Titan Standing is like a game of chess. You don't want to lose your strong pieces in the beginning by just moving them around the board without thinking, and you definitely do not want to do that halfway through the game either. My 2 tips for slow playing your Titan is to 1. Constantly have cover available to you, and 2. Always have an escape route that you can use if the enemy team starts to push and overwhelm you. Cover is hugely important in this mode because once your shields have been taken away, a good Titan pilot will pounce on that and take away as much of your health as he can before his shields drop away. If you have good cover during the opening stages of the round, you can keep your health up while also seeing which routes the enemy are taking. Preserving your health is of the highest priority when in your Titan, because if the round is coming to a close and you're in a 2v1 situation at the end, and the 2 enemies are at half health while you have full health, you will have a way better chance at clutching out the round and surviving. That being said, there will be times when preserving health will not be possible, maybe because a couple enemy Titans rolled up on you, or maybe because you and a teammate are pushing the enemy and you are out in the front of that push. That brings me to the next part of slow playing your Titan, which is to always have your out and take it if you need to. I look at using the Titans like I do with tanks in a battlefield match, and when you take damage you cannot continue to sustain it or you will be taken down eventually. So whether you are advancing or chilling in a spot waiting for an enemy push, always have in the back of your mind where you're going to go if something goes wrong. Another big piece of advice I have when playing Last Titan Standing is to always know where your teammates are. Slow playing does nothing if you are trying to lone wolf around the map, because most of the maps have choke points where someone will see you alone and bring you down. When the match starts, unless you have a predetermined route that you like to play on a certain map, my advice would be to wait 5 or 10 seconds and see where your team pushes. If 4 of them go to the route on the right and 1 goes towards the middle, you might want to take the route that's on the left side of the map while also keeping an eye on your teammate in the middle so he doesn't get overwhelmed by a strong push. A lot of these maps have 3 or 4 main routes, which means in a perfect world your team will have 3 groups of 2 Titans roaming around who can help each other out if need be. When roaming around with teammates, one of the things you want to keep in the back of your mind is that shots taken by your teammates will not go through you, and if a teammate dashes and hits your Titan, it will instantly kill his speed. So when you're playing with teammates and you are at a narrow area where only 1 Titan can fit through at a time, be very careful. If you are the advancing Titan in that situation, you do not want to hog that narrow spot for too long because your buddies behind you will not be able to shoot from behind and do damage, and you will also break any locks from your teammates if they are using guided weapons, so keep that in mind as well. That being said, if you are in the same situation but you are the one hanging back and providing covering fire while a friendly is pushing through a narrow area, there is one major thing to remember: do not block his only escape route. If he is a smart pilot, he will know his only escape route, which will be directly where he came from, and if your teammate is sustaining too much damage and tries to retreat and you are in his way, you will kill his speed, and he will more than likely have wasted a boost or 2, making him easy to hit by the enemies while his dashes recharge. Now, depending on which Titan chassis you are using, you will have to modify these basic concepts to suit the strength of your Titan. For example, if you're using the Strider Titan, what might be smart to do is use your 3 dashes effectively so you can dash a couple times towards the enemy, do some damage to them to bring their shields down and a bit of their health, and continue to use your dashes to evade fire and retreat when your shields have been brought down. Now if you're using the Ogre chassis, you don't want to use that strategy because you only have 1 dash per 4 seconds available to you, and trying to play the guerrilla fighter mold with the ogre will only make you soak up more damage than you needed to. This is where the Atlas Titan comes in because it is the most balanced of the 3 Titans, which will make you more adaptable to whichever situation you might encounter in this mode. You can play the dashing strategy, getting in and out more quickly than an ogre could, but you can also play the supporting role, soaking up a little more damage and dealing it out yourself, which would be better than a strider in the same role. Now that you guys know which chassis I think suits the mode best, I'm going to throw out a couple of loadouts that work well in this mode, and cover which weapons and kits I prefer to use. The primary weapon I prefer to use in the game, and especially this mode, is the 40mm cannon. I think it is by far the best Titan weapon. It has a good amount of splash damage for hitting pilots running on the ground or walls, but it is very accurate at the longer distances and also hits very hard on the critical points of Titans that have already lost their shields. I prefer extended mags with the 40mm cannon over the burst fire, because with the burst fire, while you can up your damage per second, you also lose accuracy at longer distances, which is important at times in Last Titan Standing because you might be watching a long sightline, which is why I prefer extended mags. Using the burst fire 40mm cannon with the Strider Titan is an option though, because the Strider will allow you to get in closer to the enemy so you can hit more of your shots. And speaking of Striders, another primary weapon that suits the Strider playstyle is the triple threat, where you can get in and pop grenades at the enemy Titans and get out quickly, especially if you can trap them in a corner and they can't escape from them. Another primary weapon that is decently effective in this mode is the plasma railgun, which can be charged up and released when the user lets go of the fire button, which deals a massive amount of damage to enemy Titans. It lacks usefulness in close quarters though, which is why I roll with the 40mm cannon. The tactical ability I use is the electric smoke for 3 main reasons. It provides a quick way to dispatch someone rodeoing you, which can help in this mode if you aren't by a teammate and don't have time to jump out. Electric smoke can also deal a massive amount of damage to Titans, so if a Titan charges you, you can deploy smoke to damage him before his dashes can recharge. The last reason why I use electric smoke is also the most rewarding, and it occurs when a Titan is chasing me and I am retreating. What I will do is start to run away, turn a corner, and then deploy the smoke, and more often than not, the Titan will run into it, damaging him badly. It also provides good cover when you have no cover because it is hard to see through. The particle wall is a good second choice because it creates cover you can shoot through, but I like to pass it up for smoke. The ordnance I run in Last Titan Standing is the cluster missile, which shoots a missile that will deal damage, and then it will continue to explode into smaller bombs and saturate an area with explosives for a while. I run this mainly because of the amount of choke points in this mode is pretty high since everyone is in a Titan, and you can shoot this at a narrow area to block passage by enemies for a short time. I think it is by far the best ordnance for this mode, but I also used to run the slaved warheads for the ease of use factor. A neat little trick I've done is to retreat around a corner and pop my electric smoke, and shoot the cluster missile right after the smoke. The enemy Titan will try and dash through the smoke and take less damage, and will end up in the cluster missile's bombing area without dashes available, which coupled with me shooting him will take his health down pretty quickly. The short clip before this round where I was on Angel City shows a similar strategy, where I was retreating and an enemy Titan got a little too aggressive, which was when I popped my cluster missile and used my electric smoke, which ended up taking his Titan out of the round. I use fast autoloader for my tier 1 kit so I can use the cluster missiles more liberally without worrying about the cooldown as much, but regen booster is a good choice as well. Recharging shields quickly is very important in this mode. For the tier 2 kit I have used a couple of different setups, but usually I am running core extender so my damage core will last longer when I'm in my Atlas. I do like core accelerator a lot as well because you will gain access to your core ability much quicker, which can be a game changer if you have a pretty aggressive enemy team. And survivor is also good if you always go down with the ship and don't eject, because it will give you more time to deal damage. Speaking of ejecting, once you're out of a Titan in this mode, my best recommendation is to get on a roof of a building and follow a friendly Titan around and help him in his fights by throwing your arc grenades and using either the Sidewinder or the Archer missile launcher. Explosive pack is good to use as well because it allows you to carry more arc grenades or satchel charges, and in Last Titan Standing I always use the Spitfire LMG in case I get onto an enemy Titan and start rodeoing him. I won't have to waste time reloading while I'm on his back with the LMG compared to either the Carbine or the SMGs. I do hope you guys learned a few tips from this video that will help you in this mode, and if you are already Generation 10 and know everything I said, then I hope the gameplay was entertaining for you as well. A big thanks to Roto, who is on my team providing good coordination and teamwork. His channel is linked below in the description. Comment below on whether you like this more in-depth look at Titanfall, and also let me know what loadouts you guys use and also if I missed covering anything as well. Like and also subscribe to stay tuned for more Titanfall videos that are coming soon, as well as more Battlefield 4 coverage and maybe even an Elder Scrolls Online video in the next coming days. As always, thank you guys for watching. I do hope you enjoyed, and enjoy the rest of the round.
Another Titan is attacking you. Warning, multiple Titans engaging. Warning, multiple threats attacking.
One enemy Titan remaining. End it. Tech 6 to all ground units. The militia have been defeated.